Hello, world! I'm Chris Pirillo, and you are you. Thank you for tuning in live for another edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. Your daily dose of geek news, reviews, and answers that you can use like an answer to the question, when is trailer number 3 for Avengers Age of Ultron finally going to be released? According to my lack of watch, a few minutes ago. You can watch it right now. I was in the 301 Plus Club. So I got there as soon as I found the link, and then of course I tweeted it. And I'm telling you about it now. I'll be sure to put the link for that video in this video's description, or the podcast page's description. So you can watch it if you have not yet already seen that trailer. I'm kind of looking forward to that movie. And I may be breaking protocol by actually seeing the movie in theaters, and that's protocol for me because I tend to wait until movies are released on disc because I can rent them for a few bucks versus spending an ungodly amount of money to seeing the movies in the theaters. But I am kind of excited for that. I've become a huge fan of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And last night, as a matter of fact, they broadcast, I can't remember the exact episode number, but it's Marvel's Agents of Shield, the television series, came back from their winter break. This is really the first time that we've seen Skye as an Inhuman interacting, and of course the Reyna. I don't want to issue any spoilers. I've got to be very careful about these live broadcasts because even when it comes to me watching the things that I want to see, I have to avoid social so many times, especially during the time where on the East Coast, someone might be able to see a show, at least here in America. And I'm here on the West Coast and I have to wait a few hours. So I have to kind of avoid social altogether. Otherwise, I see spoilers. So I'm going to be very, very careful about issuing or sharing or oversharing, really, any kind of spoilers that might be out there. If I seem to be glowing white, that's because I'm white. Very white. No, I've got the screen in front of me that's casting this blue glow as opposed to this warm reddish glow from the lights on top, on high, and then I've got this bounce or reflector here showing you behind the scenes. Yeah, isn't that amazing? Look at that. I'm reflecting light. I'm bouncing it. So I've got a whole bunch of light things going on here. I am not a production geek at all. So thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. You can join us in these live streams, interact, and of course become part of the Hangouts and a whole bunch of other bonuses. It starts at $2 a month. You're all my nomies, but you can become one of the super nomies. Just pledge that, stay active, and we'll be able to continue to do this ad infinitum. Very happy to do so. Also happy to report that we still have Citrix on as a sponsor. Citrix Go to Assist, the #1 global market leader in remote support. This is a big deal. Sign up today for a 30-day free trial, and if you purchase an annual plan before March 31st, 2015, you'll get a free Samsung Galaxy Tab 4. Visit gotoassist.com to get started. There you go. A free tablet for you, and a way that you can help your entire team if you happen to be someone in a career that involves computer support. Go to Assist is the best tool that I've ever happened to use. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor. I mean, I have genuinely used it over and over and over again. I use Citrix's suite of services to keep my business running, including putting the details together for Gnome Decks, which is going to be the event happening later this year for geeks and nerds on YouTube, or our communities will come together, will coalesce. You want to meet some of your favorite geek and nerdy YouTubers? Who are they? I'm guessing they're the same as mine. Potentially. Are they? I don't know. We're going to roll the die and see what happens. Actually, we're going to roll 2 dice. 12. We'll have more than 12 people, I'd assume, there at the event. Stay tuned for more information on that. If you've not already downloaded the Mac OS X 10.10.3 beta, you can. You can pick it up, you can install it on your Mac, and try the beta of OS X. I'd expect that this is going to be unleashed for all to use outside of the beta. The compelling reason, or I guess the most compelling reason for you to try the OS X beta is to give feedback to Apple. And I would appreciate that. I do not plan on installing the beta, but it's something that you could do. I talked about this in depth in a separate Q&A video, which I assume that you've watched by now. It is worth doing, but likely only on a machine that is not a production machine. I don't have any knockaround Macs here. I might install it in a virtual machine on Parallels, though, at some point in the future. But at this stage, it may be more for you than it is for me. Also, in the new version of OS 10, this beta, we have extended character sets of emoji, which is great. And this comes right around the time when just yesterday I kind of got excited towards the tail end of our patron hangout, which I realize if you're not one of our patrons, you wouldn't have heard. But I got excited because there was a new version of Chrome, a major revision, version 41, at least on OS 10, and likely cross-platform the way Google handles things. But this version 41 of Chrome finally ushers in emoji support, which we've been wanting and needing for years, but we finally have emoji support in the browser. Google Chrome, the production or stable release version of Google Chrome 41 moving forward will support emoji. That's exciting to me. I'm a fan of emoji. Some people don't like emoji at all. I love emoji. I just used emoji a few minutes ago in a tweet. Twitter supports emoji outright, kind of like Facebook. Facebook's kind of got an iffy support for emoji. Twitter supported emoji natively, if only to get around the problems that Google had, kind of laid out not supporting emoji. So you can go to a tweet page and get emoji easily, even no matter what your browser is. They support emoji natively. But I tweeted out like a tongue emoji because I bit my tongue. So if I misspeak at any point during this broadcast, it's kind of bet my tongue. Oh, it hurts. I think it'll heal fine, but it may put a damper on my ability to try those sriracha potato chips, which I have. I picked them up yesterday. I'm going to try them as a show and tell video for everybody. The age of the fax machine is finally coming to an end. I can't even tell you how many times I've been stymied by faxes. Oh, I understood faxes back in the day. There's a value to a fax, right? But there's so many businesses and entities that still rely on faxes for some reason. I'm like, have we not replaced this yet? I mean, can't we just take a picture with our phone and then email it to someone? That's even better. It's faster. It's cleaner. Doesn't tie up a phone line. How many times have you picked up the phone and heard, could be a fax machine or a modem trying to give you a handshake like that. I don't know. But it's finally coming to an end, thanks in large part to the internet. It only took, 20 years to kill the fax machine? When was the last time you had to send a fax? Me? A week ago. Because this is the only way they would accept something, is through a fax. It was like I was faxing back in time. That's what it felt like. Faxing back in time. Oh, speaking of back in time, I found that there's a discount on the Call of Cthulhu action figures. I linked it off in Twitter and Facebook. Didn't really blog about it on LockerGnome.com. But I'll gotta remember. Hang on, let me write this down. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna write it down. I'm gonna tell you about a service that I learned about. It's actually a free app. I know it's on OS 10. I don't know if it's on Android at this stage, but it's one of my favorite apps now. It's called Jotbox. I think I talked about it the other week. So it's basically an app that you can just email yourself easily without necessarily getting worried about having your email sent to yourself automatically to your sent items folder. That's kind of what happens. Or at least it's happened for me in the past, so I can never email myself. I always have to use a third party. So this is smart. Oh, hun? Jedi's booger sucker arrived. They're booger suckers. Did you know that? It's called a snot sucker. Amazing little gadget. I'm not going to do a review on that. Maybe Diana should, though, in her channel. Put link for Cthulhu figures in TLDR. And I press a button, and then it emails me, and so I'll get that in my inbox, so I'll see it. Instead of writing a note down, I can email myself using Jotbox. It's an amazing little free app that I found that has not changed my life, but I really, really appreciate having it around. There's a little bonus for you. Also, we have not yet posted today's deals, but if you head over to deal.lockergnome.com, you'll find them. Shop.lockergnome.com has a new array of awesome t-shirts. You may want to check them out. I'm getting one that's going to be the Loki t-shirt. What are they? There's a certain name for these types of t-shirts. Remember the Darth Vader one that I wore for a week straight? I'm probably going to wear the Loki one for a week straight because it's just as soft, the material. I love t-shirts. Love this one. This is a Jinx t-shirt. I just like the design, though. It's like a nerdy skull. I love that. That's the Jinx logo, in case you were wondering. If you do anything with video games, I'm assuming you know what the Jinx line of shirts are. Qualcomm, the other day, announced, and this is a part of Mobile World Congress. By the way, did anybody else elect anybody to Mobile World Congress? MWC. I don't remember the elections for Mobile World Congress. Does anybody out there? I never remembered electing anybody, but oh well. Qualcomm has announced Snapdragon Sense ID fingerprint sensors using ultrasound to scan 3D images. So this could effectively leapfrog Apple's innovation, or it's not really Apple's innovation, Apple's acquisition of a Touch ID. Well, they evolved it, of course, to the point where it is, the Touch ID sensor in iPhones and iPads. This is, it really is a game changer in a lot of ways, but it could stand a bit more development. Qualcomm could potentially have matched not just the security, but the capabilities of Touch ID with this sensor, and potentially exceeded it, allowing for you to use your fingerprint or thumbprint, your print, even if it happens to be wet, your finger happens to be wet, you can get other signals apart from the actual print itself, since it's a 3D scan. So this could help certain Android devices excel, or whatever devices use this particular sensor. I doubt Apple's going to pick it up because they have their own. But that's good. If they move that ball forward, that would mean Apple would have to move the ball forward. Everybody wins. Competition. It's healthy. There's no winner in a race that never ends, and I love that. Meerkat. So I'm going to Meerkat right now. This is another app that I guess the founder of the company sent to me the other day. I didn't really do anything with it. I posted it once briefly. I had a video of Jedi. She was like, I don't know if she was asleep. Yeah, I think she was asleep. It was boring. And then after you tweet your Meerkat live link, it goes away. You can't watch it anymore. So what I'm going to do right now is Meerkat Pixie sleeping. I don't know. I have this thing for Pixie sleeping. The dog is sleeping. This is a free app that you can get right now. It's called Meerkat, available on iOS. And what you can do with it is live stream immediately from your phone, and it'll tweet it out so that people can watch live. So this is kind of like me doing something live. So this is fun. Okay, the dog is sleeping. I'm going to press stream, and then we're going to be streaming. This is very meta. So if you missed my tweet during TLDR, this is when it was happening and where it was happening. I'm tweeting it out, I think, to my @ChrisPirillo handle. Wow, there are no people watching me, Meerkat, right now. That's not a surprise. I'm streaming TLDR to all my super nomies, and after that's live, then all my nomies, everybody, will be able to watch. I'm testing Meerkat the second time. Ooh, sup like this, @sup. See, I get a list of all the people who are tuned in right now to watch the Meerkat. Oh, hang on, the Meerkat. Oh, this is a horrible live video, folks. This is what happens when you do this. Okay, so let's see if that shows up in TLDR. Everybody who's watching just got their head bubbles there. Neat, huh? I think that's cool. So let me go ahead and live stream Pixie right now. And Sup says, this app still makes no sense to me. Well, because you can live stream dynamically. You can chat with people dynamically. It's kind of fun. And admittedly, it's kind of boring. I know, it's not exciting. But imagine if you were doing something very exciting. You could do it live. Like, watching a dog sleep. This is extremely exciting for me. Even though Pixie is not a Shiba Inu. Is that what the dogs were called? Shiba Inus? The puppies? Remember that craze? Rhett and Link actually had a song, a video with Pixie in it. And I starred in it too. The live on the internet. We're live on the internet. Okay. I gotta get back to doing TLDR, folks. See you over there. End stream. Gotta end the stream. Save the stream. So I can save it locally if I wanted to for posterity. But Meerkat, kind of a neat little app. I like what they're doing with it. It is kind of fun. Kind of fun. Very fun, especially if you are interested in broadcasting live video like that from your phone. Google Plus. Still not dead yet. I think it's not on its way out, but Google is effectively carving up the pie. That is Google Plus, and they probably needed to for quite some time. I liked Google Plus. I had some issues with it, certainly, but I liked it for what it was. Unfortunately, it's a shadow of its former self, which wasn't that great to begin with. It was a inorganic social layer with pockets of organic engagement. That's the best way to accommodate what Google Plus was. And I know a lot of Plus apologists would get mad at me for saying this, but that's exactly what it was. Google kind of forced it down everybody's throats. Well, now they're carving it up, which they needed to do, if only because, Google Plus, I don't think it's not dead. I don't know if it's going to die, but it needs to evolve. So Streams is going to be a product, and that's likely going to be like the Google Plus that we've known and loved to this point for content discovery and community. Then you're going to have Photos separated out, so we're going to see likely a separate Google Photos app on iOS. I've got more Google apps for iOS than I do Apple apps for Android. And in fact, they just revamped their Contacts app, really kind of bringing it into a new era. Because for the longest time, it's had the old design ethos. I appreciate what Google's done with Inbox. I like Inbox more than I like the Gmail service in terms of an interface and experience. Way more. Inbox, to me, is going to be the future. And this is my guess. They're going to kill Gmail and give it the Inbox treatment for UI and UX. Contacts has got the same ethos, which I appreciate. It's just in preview mode right now. I tried it because I don't, use Google all that much for contact management. But I think they're definitely moving the ball forward, and it's nice to see Google doing something. So, Streams. It's going to be Google Streams, and I'll be extremely interested in what they do with that. My Google Plus stream right now, in case you were wondering, and I know you weren't, but I'm going to show you anyway because I can. It's not that active anymore because a lot of people don't post there, but 99% of my Google Plus feed is my top circles, but then Star Wars stuff. I follow Star Wars people and Star Wars news. There are some toy photographers there too, but they're not incredibly active. But yeah, so this is not exactly a secret. If you want me to pay attention to you, do something that is worth paying attention to, or sharing something that's worth paying attention to. I can't follow everything and everybody. I can only follow the things that I'm interested in. I mean, what would this world be if you followed things that you weren't interested in? I don't know. I like connecting with other geeks who can expose me to things that I didn't otherwise know about. I like expanding my horizons that way. Yeah. I think that makes me an anomaly. Potentially. It also makes me congested, apparently. I found this through a random favoriting of a subtweet. And this is kind of neat. It's a web service. You can go to in your web browser. I don't know if it works on the iPad. Let's find out. Make 8-bit art, and if you use the number 8 as you make 8-bit art. Let me see here. This may be a bit bright for you. I gotta dim the screen here too. There you go. Can you kind of see that? Make 8-bit art comes in focus right there. Oops, sorry, I brushed the mic. What you can do here is create 8-bit art within the browser, and you can change colors and all sorts of fun things. So you can design your own 8-bit whatever on your tablet. Doesn't have to necessarily be an iPad. I don't know if it's not going to respond to touch events necessarily like that. But you could also use your desktop web browser or whatever. You always wanted to make 8-bit art. There you go. Make8bitart.com. I stumbled upon it, and I'm like, dude, not using StumbleUpon. I've never really used that service, but I thought it was cool. I'm an 8-bit fan. Now, we've been posting geeky creatures for a few weeks now. Posted a few in my Instagram feed, and we've gotten some decent amount of traction with them. But I'm thinking I'd really like to explore the idea of creating pixel art creatures in an ongoing series, pixel art creatures, that we can then turn into 3D objects, which you can press a button for and export into an STL file and 3D print these pixel art creatures and have them on your desk. Wouldn't that be kind of neat? Well, I think it'd be kind of neat. That's just me. And I like pixel art and fun creatures and this kind of stuff. I know some people, they like things that are at a substantially deeper level. This is, unfortunately, what fascinates me. Unfortunate, potentially, for you. Very fortunate for me, because I love this stuff. Future computers could communicate. Is this news? No. But like humans? Yes! So, right now, I'm talking at you. Unfortunately, I'm not able to talk with you. I was doing the live stream, and I could have interacted with people on Twitter there. But doing the live stream right now on YouTube, if I look here, I see Pezliz is participating, Adam Wallace is participating, Ross Williams is participating, Swashin, a.k.a. Matt Philly, is participating. We've got a few other people, including Robert Glenn Fogarty, another person who makes the LockerGnome world spin round. So, I can interact with them and communicate with them in real time. Just like I could communicate with you. But the problem is, communicating with a computer. I remember Dr. Spatezo from back in the day. There's probably Dr. Spatezo emulators online where you could type in a question or you can interact with this, not even AI. this bot of sorts that could respond in a synthesized voice on your PC. And I love Dr. Spato, just having fun with Dr. Spato. In fact, on OS X, if you drop to a terminal prompt, you can launch the say command. So type in SAY, say, space, and then my name is Chris Pirillo. And then what will happen is OS X will respond in its computerized voice, respond with, hi, hello, or hi, my name is Chris Pirillo, whatever you typed in. It's fun. It's gimmicky. What we're talking about is a completely different dynamic between computers, I mean, people, and technology and computers. Understanding context. So this would be more like the movie Her, which I did enjoy. I really liked the movie Her. Her is one of those movies that I saw, and I thought it kind of drug on for a while. I think it could have been a bit shorter and still got the, everything across. But I liked the movie to the point where if it was on again, I'd watch it again. That was a good movie. I really liked Her. Some people didn't. I really did. But imagine having the communication with a piece of technology where you couldn't even understand who it was, what it was you were talking to. You couldn't. You were communicating like it was a real person. Imagine that. Would you develop feelings for that? Could you develop feelings? Could you empathize? It's just, I love these topics. We're getting closer and closer to that day. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about artificial intelligence. I'm just talking about computers being able to respond and communicate in context closer to the way that humans communicate. Communication, obviously, could be seen as a form of intelligence, but I would determine artificial intelligence as, achieving some amount of sentience. That to me would be truly artificial intelligence. Then you better watch out. When robots are actually smarter than you and me, well, I'm a little frightened. It'll be exciting, but I'm a little frightened because I'm guessing robots could probably take care of this planet better than humans can. I'm just saying. Humans are a bit erratic. Robots don't have feelings. No feelings to hurt. It's just you're on a mission. And feelings, I'm not saying get in the way, but, that's the thing that makes us human, having feelings and emotions. We know each other. We can empathize with each other. Theoretically, there are some people who are not people at all. They lack any amount of humanity. Those people who would try to gain happiness at the cost of somebody else's happiness. Like if you watch, see, this is the thing. I just talked about my feelings. I talked about my feelings about Big Hero 6, my movie review. I just recorded that as the live Q&A for today as a separate video. But if you watch a movie, it's very clear, usually pretty clear, who the antagonist is, who the enemy is, who the villain is. They're usually the character that is trying to strip away happiness from other people for their own gain. So achieving happiness or attempting to achieve happiness at the cost of somebody else's happiness makes you a villain. So when you do bad things, when you do mean things to other people intentionally, you're a villain. By definition, you are the villain. And if you want to live your life like a villain, it's your prerogative. But you got to come to expect everything that comes when you become a villain. You're a villain. Nobody likes the bad guy. Unless they're an awesome bad guy like Darth Vader. But that's completely fiction. We're still dealing in the world of non-fiction, folks. Don't be the villain. Don't let your happiness come at the cost of somebody else's happiness. Was that a fun topic to discuss this morning? I thought it was. By the way, I apologize for being late in the live streams today because Wicket was not peeing fast enough. I was a few minutes late. I didn't apologize for that up front, but I have now. Let me go ahead and move down these glasses so I can actually see what's in front of me. Oh! So this is not going to make a lot of people happy, but to me it was a foregone conclusion. I kind of understood this. Bloatware on Android phones is a bigger problem than bloatware on PCs. For a lot of problems, or a lot of reasons that are problems. Now, I'm not slagging Android. Just like I'm not slagging Windows. If you got mad at Windows for all the malware that's available on Windows, you got to understand. I mean, that's the platform it's written for because so many users are using it. So in a way, seeing so much malware on a platform really is not just vindication. It's just saying, hey, look, a lot of people use it. Of course, the tallest nail gets pounded. What you have to understand is, I know, this is a very unpopular opinion with nerds and geeks right now. They jump down my throat because they believe Some really truly believe that the only PC out there is the personal computer that we've known and loved for quite some time. That is a personal computer. This is a personal computer, the tablet. This is very much a personal computer. I would argue this is more of a personal computer or a PC than my first PC was. It's way personal. I keep it on me all the time. How is that not personal? Now it's a phone. Really? When was the last time I made a call on this? Never. No, I have made calls on it. Not often, though. So, this is a computer, right? And if bad things can happen with code on a desktop computer, yeah, it's going to happen on a mobile computer as well. This PC is just as much of a vector for bad stuff as any amount of computers that might be out there, whether they're running Windows, Android, or anything. Nobody is impervious to bugs. Nobody. No. Code is imperfect. Code evolves. Code is, I'm not going to say it's got a life of its own, but it evolves. It's an evolutionary process. Just because you've achieved stability at one point, yeah, you may think, okay, I'm frozen, this is good, I'm good to go. Something else may happen 20 years from now, and that code is not just maybe potentially outdated, maybe subject to something that it wasn't a problem at the time that it was coded, but 20 years from now, a new problem may have cropped up to have made it an issue within the code that was written 20 years ago. Software constantly evolves. So this didn't surprise me at all, but I think it's very telling, and it's a warning sign. Treat this like you would a computer, because it is. I don't care if it's iOS or Android. Treat it like it's a computer. Be very careful about what you download, even through official app stores. Even. iOS is not impervious to this stuff. On Android, it's a little different because you're innocent until proven guilty with Android, which some people love. It's great. What you got to understand is what comes in tow with that. If you're looking for a solid Android experience, you probably already know where to turn. What you have to understand is that malware can happen anywhere, not just on one platform or another. But bloatware on Android, malware on Android is seen as just as problematic as it has been really on Windows. I tell you, I bit my tongue. I have an excuse to that. I have an excuse to that. So, anyway, just wanted to point that out. Anybody who uses Android or knows someone who uses Android, if you want to refute the article, fine. I don't think anybody could argue because of the nature of the beast. When you have a lot of players in the mix, each player adds a different layer of value on top of that piece of hardware. You got the hardware, the software, the value, versus a company that may have control over the software, the platform, the hardware, the service, stem to stern. So, you just keep in mind, I'm not slagging it. This is an absolute flat fact. Even the people who know about this could not argue. It's a flat fact, which is both a drawback and a benefit. This flat fact. Can't fight it. Nvidia is not done with the Shield. Not to be confused with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, by the way, was a fantastic episode last night. Finally seeing Skye as an Inhuman and kind of getting a feel for her exploring her new powers that I guess she's kind of already had. I don't want to issue any spoilers. Suffice it to say, if you've not yet started to watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I like it more than any other part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe to this point. Really, truly. I like it. I like it more than the Captain America movies. I like it more than Thor movies. I like it more than the Avengers. Anything that I've seen to this point. Except Guardians of the Galaxy. I like Guardians. That's my favorite MCU movie. My favorite MCU TV show then is Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's very, very well done, and I think it's just starting to get exciting. And I get to watch it now in real time as they just release episodes because I'm caught up with binging. Not to be confused with that Shield. Sorry, back to Nvidia. I know. All right, so let me make sure I get this right. What it's going to be, this new edition of the Android Shield, is a 4K, really the world's first 4K Android TV. It's going to be available in May for $200. It's going to come with pretty much everything you might need, including the what they're calling the gamepad. What it seems to be, and I think they're saying 50 games at launch, this might be OUYA done right. So if you liked the idea of OUYA, but questioned the execution, that was me, I questioned the execution, this might be it. You get a 4K powered Android TV. You want an Android TV experience? Awesome. I have a Google TV that has not been updated forever. Is it a possibility that I get some kind of Android-powered, stick to plug in or device or console to plug in? It's a possibility. I'm always looking for new experiences, and I'm still waiting for a major player to step forward with that. So it's interesting how Nvidia is approaching the market. This is I think this is heralding the future of game consoles. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset at me for saying this because it's a very unpopular opinion, but, I had a talk about this with Linus Sebastian months ago, years ago, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago. I think we've pretty much seen, not the death of consoles, but the PS4 is going to need to evolve, or Sony's going to have to evolve the PlayStation brand and platform. Microsoft's going to have to do the same thing with the Xbox. And so the Nvidia Shield, even though I wouldn't call it a replacement for a PS4 or an Xbox 360, it's far more affordable, $200. That's like close to Geek Impulse buy territory. Very close. So you're going to see very powerful machines come in at a low price point with an amazing array of games. Now, granted, if it's on Android, right? And I think this is really, I think it's a Trojan horse, not to be confused with Trojans, the bad stuff, the malware. I'm talking about a Trojan horse for the living room. I think Android has the power, and as long as games are written to it and for it, optimized for those types of experiences, I really think that it could easily, easily take over that market. I think it's a potential that 3 years to 5 years from now, you'll see more of those types of devices, Nvidia Shields, produced and sold, than Xbox 360s or PS4s. I think it's a possibility. I really genuinely do. Big caveat, if they get the games. If they get the games and the gameplay usability, right? If they can minimize the amount of... All right. If they can minimize the amount of lag or responsiveness, if they can minimize any kind of usability, or I guess maximize usability, minimize any usability headaches, I think they have a chance. I really do. And that's not just NVIDIA. I'm talking about Android TV types of experiences or Android gaming experiences. If a game's written for Android, that platform, it could be ported to another product, another piece of hardware that's running Android, and then it's down to someone creating an experience with hardware tied into service. That would be very, very compelling, and that would create a lot of competition in the marketplace. So then instead of 3 to 5 years from now it being $200, it may be $100, $50, and you'd be able to buy something and have amazing games on your TV, playing with a controller, your gamepad, or whatever. And they wouldn't be traditional consoles; they'd be newer types of consoles, way more affordable, way more upgradable, constantly versus these monstrosities which we currently have today. Now, I'm not calling I'm saying, like, the PS4 is big. The Xbox One is big. Did I say Xbox 360 earlier? I apologize if I did. The Xbox One is big. I'm talking about smaller, faster, better, more affordable. And I think this is a great place for Android to be as a gaming platform. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Valve later this year as well, because they're making moves into this market. Having read up on a lot of where Linux has been with gaming, it's really, I think, been accelerated. A lot of people who might be hardcore PC types of gamers, I don't know if you really want Windows as much as you want the games that might run on Windows. So if you can abstract the operating system, which Valve has tried to do over and over and over again with a lot of their leading titles, if most of your Steam library is cross-platform inherently, why do you need Windows so much anymore? And it could boil down to the performance of drivers, and that's really going to be the thing that they would really have to accelerate. I think Valve is going to have to work much more closely with Nvidia and AMD to optimize or better optimize those drivers so that the games play just as well on Linux, if not better, than they would on Windows, to free up, I'd say, gamers' reliance on a PC in general, and at which point... so we're years from now, right? There are always going to be people, because this, honestly, this is what I think I appreciate about, they call them this, and I hate this label, I really do. This is what I appreciate about the PC master race. Not necessarily their attitude, but what they do, and how they do it. I love seeing what they do with computers and designs. Modding and tweaking. I love that. Just like when I look at someone who's done something like that with a car, and I'm like, that's kind of neat. I'm not a car geek, I'm not a hardware geek, but I still appreciate that is an art form. And I think there is an art form to modding your own PC. So what we're going to see, I think, at some point in the future, 5-10 years from now, is going to be even further abstracted, such that you'd be able to upgrade components with a greater degree of ease. I think what we perceive as a PC is just going to get blown out of the water as more and more of these games are available and can run just as effectively or as efficiently as they do on Windows on alternative platforms like what Valve's building with SteamOS. So, once you've loosened the reins of a reliance on one part of the ecosystem, suddenly we may see an explosion of freedom. Whether that is, being able to mod and eke out every last drop of performance on the desktop in a traditional desktop construct, whether it's connecting it to a TV, suddenly it doesn't really matter. It's just doing it. It's just playing the games. There comes a law of, I think there's a point where it's a law of diminishing returns in terms of performance, or should be, or could likely be, in terms of how much is it going to improve your gameplay. Like, you got the fastest machine, but, does your gameplay improve, automatically? Does everything improve automatically, or does it eventually level out? And that's the law of diminishing returns right there. So we're going to hit that point sooner rather than later. And I think part of that is going to be accelerated through things like the Nvidia Shield. I think it's going to be accelerated with Android TV or any Android gaming types of devices like what the Nvidia Shield is going to be starting in May. Or the way that Valve's moving forward with SteamOS. We've needed this, I think, as a general community for quite some time, if only because increased competition. I argued years ago when I was a columnist in CPU Magazine that there needed to be a Linux OS for games. And that's pretty much what Valve's building with SteamOS. So I knew this was going to happen years ago. It's nice to see it kind of happening now. We won't see it actually come to fruition for another few years. But it's always nice to know that technology is moving forward, that these brands are very much invested in our future. And even if you're not a gamer, what you have to understand is that technology trickles down and it makes everything else way more affordable, increases performance across the board. It just makes for better experiences by and large. So I'm very, very happy about that. Very, very happy about that. Very happy to see these announcements coming down the pike. The last thing I was going to mention today, and how did I do? Oh, wow. I talked longer than I thought I was going to talk. So Matt said something that Adam agrees with. Yeah. I can't talk. They're talking about a chat room. I want to do a 24/7 chat room again, but I can't do it. It's completely unmanageable right now in the way things are being set up. I hope that Patreon enables something like that in the upcoming revision. I don't know whether or not it's going to happen, however. So stay tuned for that. I'm hoping to have something like that. Hoping. We'll see. The last thing I was going to mention is that Instagram is now going to let you upload photo sets, but only if you're a brand. So become a brand, and you can upload photo sets. Congratulations. It's kind of neat. Photo sets for the people or brands that you might be interested in following. They've also enabled external links for brands and ads. So Instagram's evolving slowly. So I will follow you on Instagram. Here's the thing, I will. I mean, I follow people all the time on Instagram. I will follow you on Instagram if most, if not all, of what you post is Star Wars or toy photos. Look at that, toy, Star Wars. Right, that's a toy. That's a Star Wars. That's a Star Wars. That's a Star Wars toy. It's Lego. I do Lego stuff as well. What is that? Oh, it's a screenshot of Avengers Age of Ultron. I'll let that pass. Hi!
Did you know me and you are two of the people that Basher follows?
What?
On Instagram.
Oh, Basher follows us?
Yeah, like almost 38 people.
Whoa, Basher's like one of the bigger Minecrafters. He's also a huge Star Wars fan, which is probably why he likes following me.
And he has to follow me.
I know. Yeah, that's a pity follow. Okay, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all your support, as I said at the beginning, or should have said. You can tune in to all the live streams, watch them happen in real time, join the chat with the people who are watching me live. $2 a month on up. That's all it takes. Thank you again for your support. I do appreciate it. I love you. I am going to move on to doing the patron hangout now, very, very briefly, and then I'm going to roll on with my day as it continues to progress. So thank you for tuning in, but at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.